Luke Hodgson, let's talk Mondo Freaks.
Mondo Freaks.
Mondo Freaks. I almost said Mondo Rock there.
Well,
for 40 years I've been saying Mondo Rock. Now I've got to say Mondo Freaks.
I know. It's funny when you name a band, because this band is actually, it's about 15 years old, and it was sort of never meant to kind of, well, you never know. You start something, you never know what's going to happen with it. But it really was just began as a group of, we're all session musicians essentially. We tour with other artists, and we would just do these little residencies in Melbourne, just playing covers, just things that we liked, and so you'd call it something, because you don't really think it's going to stick around forever, but we're happy. We are a group of freaks, and getting us all in the one room these days is tough, but it works.
Yeah. I can guarantee that if Chocolate Starfish knew they were going to be around 30 years later, they would not have called themselves Chocolate Starfish.
That's right. I know.
It's quite the cast of thousands, this band.
It is. And in saying that, sort of when it came to actually making a record and acknowledging this project, we have 5 singers, which is very, very rare. We have a few duet songs. We have, different lead vocals on different songs, and then they'll do backing vocals for each other. But it was just basically songs written for everyone that was a part of this as a cover band back in the beginning, who would do the gigs. And so everyone's got a song. Yeah.
Well, 2025 has been quite the breakthrough year, even though you have been around for about 15 years. What changed in 2025 that sort of accelerated Mondo Freaks this year?
I guess if I've talked about this before, but it really was the pandemic, like coming into 2025, like the inception of making a record. What had kind of happened before, if I went a few years before that, started as a cover band, then we became kind of like a pickup band of sorts for American artists, because the music that we would cover was late 70s, early 80s, funk and disco and boogie and that sort of thing. Stuff that was also, our set list as covers was kind of like, stuff that was prominently sampled in pop music and R&B and hip hop and that sort of stuff. So we would play the full, funk song that might have had like a 30s, or like 5-second snippet that was a sample in a hip hop thing. But we would play that kind of recognizable piece as a cover band. But yeah, what ended up happening is we became a pickup band for a couple of different American artists that would come to Australia and not be able to, the economy, not be able to afford to bring their band from the States over. So we would play for them. Notably Leroy Burgess and another artist, Evelyn Champagne King. So we had just done a Evelyn Champagne King tour in Australia right into the pandemic. Like we started that tour and everyone's hugging at the airport, like, good to see you, whatever. And then by midway through the tour, no one's touching each other anymore. People are wearing masks. It was all just this big, scary kind of time. And we finished that tour. It was successful. We did Golden Plains and Panama and a whole bunch of good festivals. And then the whole world went into lockdown. So we had all this momentum as kind of a new thing. We were enjoying playing, even though we were playing other people's music, we were really enjoying that sort of stuff. So we just kind of carried that on in a creative way. When the tools were down, we sort of, well, what can we do? So we started writing music. So it was the culmination of, getting through the pandemic, then recording it all, and then getting to 2025 and releasing it.
I guess working with someone of the caliber of an Evelyn Champagne King, and then had you not done that, would Turn This Love Around have existed? Because,
exactly. You know what? It probably wouldn't have. And even the song, which was it was our second single, which we put out maybe in like April. It's a song called I'm a Fool, one that Jade McCrae sings. And that was actually written with Evelyn in mind. Like it was kind of a little ode to her. So, yeah, if you go back and have a listen to that, it's when we toured with her, she brought her husband out, who's also her MD. He's a guitarist, this great guitar player named Freddie Fox. And we really admired and enjoyed just their banter as a husband and wife on the road, and it's kind of about that. It's like Evelyn singing to her husband as a little tribute, yeah.
What about working with Jade McCrae? Because I think you're working between Melbourne and Oregon, and Jade was sort of, I guess, how was she getting her vocals to you?
Well, so we did record the actual finished product in Melbourne at Sing Sing, and this is after the pandemic, but creating it, Graham Pogson, who's the drummer, and we started this band together. We would write, I guess, like just little grooves, and we'd have songs in mind. We would have these little starting points. We would write something, kind of get a little song form together, some ideas, send it to her. We'd finish our day, send it to her. We'd go to bed, and then you'd wake up in the morning and there'd be, a file in the email with her just sort of demoing ideas at home. So it was just a really natural back and forth. And because of the time difference, it was actually quite quick to come together with the writing process. And so we were all on, because the whole world was kind of in lockdown at the time. So we were all kind of searching for that creative outlet, and it was a fun thing to work on. Yeah.
Mondo Freaks was predominantly a live band. So then going into the studio, how do you translate that live energy into a studio setting?
Well, we literally record it live. Like at Sing Sing South, which is the old Platinum in South Yarra, Platinum Studios, which unfortunately no longer. They have a great live room, and we literally were all in the room playing together. The record is essentially live. It's all recorded old school. It's to tape, overdubs and all the backing vocals, long days.
Old school.
Yeah. Old school, yeah. But that's how we captured that performance. It is live. Yeah.
And that makes it easier, I guess, then to perform the songs live, because
Absolutely.
If you've started out as a live band, then recorded as a live band, then going back and performing the songs you've recorded, they're going to sound true to what's on the record.
Right. And in this day and age, technology and technological advancements have created so many amazing things, but it is just, there's something about, all individual people in the room together. You've got that sort of millisecond delay between the other player. You're all reacting to each other. This music was made with the spirit of a throwback type thing, and I feel like we captured that really well.
The Bells Are Ringing EP introduced a lot of people to your sound. Were there elements out of the success of that EP that then you just carried forward to create the album?
Well, the album was already done at that point. It's actually been done for maybe about 2 years. But that was our first offering, just to sort of slowly introduce it. Felt like that was a good, that's got a shared vocal between Susie Goebel and Jade McCrae, and it's got that sort of, I guess it's a shuffle sort of feel, but it's got that disco element that would lead into something like Turn This Love Around as another single, I guess, in that disco chic-y type unison singing thing.
Tell me about the relationship with Michael Brower, a Grammy-winning mixer. Is quite a scorecard to have on the credits.
Absolutely. And, when I think back to that time contacting him, it was quite a shock that he even responded. I just kind of, it's funny, like talking about the pandemic all the time, because it does feel like a long time ago when we were in the lockdowns, but in the process of tracking everything, we had those snap lockdowns in Melbourne. So it would actually stall production of the record each time. And we'd kind of finished getting everything together. And I was just kind of sitting there thinking, how do I, because it had been going on for a while. So how do I keep momentum and keep enthusiasm for it? And I was thinking, who could mix this sort of, it is a throwback thing. Who is top of the list? Who are the people that mixed that stuff at the time? The stuff that I loved, referencing, whatever. And Michael is one of those engineers, even though his career progressed even more to like do the big Coldplays and all that, whatever it is, a Grizzly Bear record, if you love all of it. But he did make his start doing all that early 80s funk R&B stuff in New York. And I just found his email and sent him a couple of songs, and he actually came back, and his rate was reasonable, and was excited. And then as soon as he started actually getting into it, our relationship developed, and it reminded him of he said to me at some point, it reminded him of his happiest days, in the early part of his career, just making that music. So, he signed on for the whole record, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, because he'd worked with Grace Jones, he'd worked with Luther Vandross. Was there anyone in particular that you sort of put aside and said, this is the sort of sound that we want you to go for?
Well, I never really said to him, make it like this Luther track or this Aretha Franklin track that you did. I never really kind of went there, but I think he just knew. I think he could hear. I even mentioned to him, we'd worked with Evelyn Champagne King, and he'd said, "Oh, great, I mixed her record, So Romantic." There was just kind of he understood. There is one track that it will be coming out just as an extra thing, and it features one of our singers, Jason Hira, and it's kind of like an 80s. It's like when reggae met the disco world, so it's got a bit of a reggae thing. And I said to him with that one, I was like, "Go full Compass Point, like at the Bahamas." That studio where Grace Jones, but everyone was there, that Robert Palmer records were done there. But I just said, go full Compass Point with that.
Yeah. That's such a legendary studio. Maybe one day you can get there too.
Well, yeah. Does it still exist? Is it there?
I don't know. It's in the Bahamas, isn't it?
I'd do anything to record in the Bahamas.
The band originally started as more of a concept band, didn't it?
Yes,
70s and 80s funk covers. At what point did you actually decide that this was going to be a band of originals?
Well, over the years, because I mentioned it's probably about 15 years old. Over the years, there have been little collaborative moments. We have written things, but I mentioned the nature of all players and singers in the band. We all do work as musicians for hire, we and sometimes those things are kind of you don't know what's happening in the next 6 months, and then you'll get a call, and then someone will go away for 3 months, or someone will go on tour with so and so. So there was always little bits of little creative bursts, but we'd get involved in other things, and for whatever reason, our writing would get pushed to the side. But I think there's always been such a strong spirit with everyone, and everyone really loves it, that it took a pandemic to kind of really get it together and get that creative burst. But that's why everyone stuck around for so long. We knew that there was something worth seeing through.
Was Melbourne incentive for that? Because, we've got such a vibrant scene, Bamboos, Hiatus Coyote.
Absolutely.
There's been so much international success that have come out of the soul and funk scene just in Melbourne alone that obviously rubbed off on you guys.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of Graham's gigs is the Bamboos. He's been the drummer in the Bamboos for, 13 years or so. And, gosh, we've all done so much. Like Aaron and Jason were in a band called Electric Empire. Jade's obviously had her career. I recently went overseas and played on a blues cruise with Jade, doing some of her soul stuff, because she's in that American guitarist Joe Bonamass's band over there. Melbourne for sure. It's a real melting pot, and we all cross-pollinate.
What about the creation of video, in particular, Put Your Hand in My Hand, Andy Bull's collaboration with that? Tell me about how that came about.
It wasn't on our list to sort of release as a single. In my mind, it was always just a deeper but strong album track. And in this kind of day and age of releasing staggering releases to get all the, even though this album, in my heart, it was recorded to tape. It's meant to be consumed on vinyl. It's an album. I'm still in that kind of listening state. But to live in this world and release singles and appease the algorithm and all that sort of stuff online with all the DSPs, and we just thought we'd add a little in the staggering. We'd just add another song before the album came out, and I just reached out to Andy. I played in Andy's band for years, and he has a great I guess, connection to, I just knew that he would listen to, he does a lot of animation stuff as well as music. And I knew he would just listen to the sentiment of the song and channel something from the emotional side of it into a quick little thing. And we just talked about it being a visualizer, but it kind of grew into more of a video clip in a way. But it is inspired aesthetically by, I guess, like 80s cartoons like He-Man in that kind of earlier, slightly moving, slightly still animation,
And the message of the song's very, very positive, very optimistic. Is that a central key point of Mondo Freaks?
Well, yeah, the whole album. And I think that is a time and place thing, because what we were all going through, we were all, looking for that hope. I guess there was lots of things going on in different parts of the world, which always are. The battle is always revolving, but I remember a lot of things going on at the time. And, Jade being in Oregon, if we're thinking about Put Your Hand in My Hand, I remember there were the big, like, Black Lives Matter riots in Portland in Oregon around that time. There was just a lot of stuff. And here, like in Melbourne, we had the lockdowns, but then there were like all the people locked in the towers. Remember in Flemington and all that sort of stuff. There's just stuff going on.
Well, we've got summer coming up. That means people are going out and seeing bands and doing things. What's your schedule looking like?
The schedule for Mondo Freaks, we've got a big celebration of this album. Again, mentioning that this is a 10-piece band, obviously. Even just lining up a gig can be a bit hard. But to celebrate this record, we're launching it at Howler in Brunswick on the 12th of December, which is really the culmination of this whole year. We've launched every little bit so far. So like the Bells Are Ringing single, and then the 12-inch release in April as well. We did that at the Nightcat, and went from the Curtain to the Nightcat, and now we're at Howler. And it'll just be a big party to end the year and the celebration of this body of work. Yeah, with everyone in town. Jade will be here. Everyone will be back.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Let's hope there's more people in the audience than there are on stage.
That's right. Yeah. Fingers crossed. I've seen the numbers, and I think we're good so far, but there's still plenty of tickets to go. But we've also got some awesome acts, Wrong Way Up. I don't know if you've checked them out. Fantastic. And some friends from Northside Records are going to be DJing sort of throughout the night to keep provide the party.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a good Christmas party while we're at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, it's good to see the album finally making its way out into the big wide world for people to have a listen to. It's been good to catch up with you, Luke.
Absolutely, Paul.